So I was asked just to provide a little bit of an update on the Emergency Response Fund, which Brett had talked to us about last July or August, I believe it was, and then some information on the Food Pantry Coalition. So we're going to start with the Door County Emergency Response Fund. So since last March of 2020, we've had 681. I know last week we had a few more donors, but let's say 685 donors next contribute $1.1 million. So that is many of you, because I know as 100 plus women, we were asked to contribute to the Emergency Response Fund. So thank you so much. The thing I want to point out about that number is that this is the second most raised in the state of Wisconsin from an emergency response fund. We are second to the Fox cities. They are at 1.6 million. So something to be very proud of. The generosity of Door County. Those of you who hear me talk about United Way, you know I say that frequently, but it's even more true with this emergency response fund. The generosity was just incredible. Next. So to date, we have given out 47 grants to 30 health and human service organizations. And we talk about health and human service organizations because that's phase 1 and phase 2 of the Emergency Response Fund. So that direct service to people, and then also to the organizations helping the people. So if they needed technology upgrades, if they needed plexiglass, PPE, those are the sorts of things that we covered. Next. So general category of grant funds to date. The big blue section there, food. So primarily that is the Door County Food Pantry Coalition. There were a few other food efforts, and the Door County Food Pantry Coalition started last April, the end of April. We brought that group together as the schools were starting to talk about what their food programs were going to look like for summer. And as we knew we would be winding down the Door Community Meals Cooperative. So the 8 pantries at that time, now we have 9. In the last month, we have another pantry, but the 8 pantries at that time came together, and they are responsible for making all of the decisions on how that food money is spent. So right now they are really focusing on keeping their pantry stocked. They're focused on the behind the scenes details for the Farmers to Families food boxes, organizing that. Also the Hunger Relief Federation, at times we're eligible to receive food from them, but that food can only get as far as Green Bay. So finding volunteers to get that food here and distributing that food to our pantries. We have been really fortunate that with lots of different federal relief bills, that the families who we typically think of that are in poverty, that we might stereotype as using our food pantries on a regular basis, they've been getting a lot of extra assistance through their food stamps, their EBT SNAP card. Also, there's extra assistance. Any child that's been enrolled in free and reduced lunch, there's extra money coming into them on their SNAP card. And now we're hearing that there probably will be money available to any student's family through the pandemic EBT. So what we really see this blue section going to fund our ALICE population. They're the ones who typically don't qualify for assistance, but yet are really struggling. So when we have our food box pickups, on occasion, people have asked me about the type of cars coming through and wanting to make a judgment on a vehicle. And we remind people that these are people who probably are employed, and they were able to purchase that car maybe 3 years ago. And now they're struggling to make that loan payment because they've probably had reduced hours during the COVID situation. So really looking at it through that lens of ALICE and how folks need to be accessing food in a different way. So as things wrap up with the Farmers to Families food program, we know that we're going to be relying on our pantries even more. So the pantries meet weekly, and they, through that food pantry coalition, and really are making those plans on what they need to do to meet the needs of our community. Next slide. So this is just a fun little graphic of all the different things that we've supported to date. So you may have heard the Emergency Response Fund is moving into phase 3 of funding. So our arts, our environment organization, our museums, they are now eligible to apply for funding for anything that they either have purchased already and to be prepared to serve their community due to COVID, or things that they're going to have to purchase in the next few months to open for their season. So if you're a museum, is it sanitizing stations? Is it having different ways to interact with your exhibit? If you're an arts organization, making sure your dressing rooms have proper ventilation and safety protocols. So those are the sorts of things now that the Emergency Response Fund has opened up their application for, but they still will be accepting applications for phase 1 and phase 2 and continuing to make sure that all of the health and human service needs are met. Next. And then just my contact information there. So again, a huge thank you. This group is the generosity of Door County, and that just continues to shine. So if you need to reach me ever, my email is amy@unitedwaydc.com. Christina's is christina@unitedwaydc.com, and you can reach either one of us at the phone number there. Thank you so much for listening, everyone.